Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the DualShockers WeebCast. I'm your host, Giuseppe Nelva, and this is a weekly podcast in which I talk about Japanese games, anime, manga, Japanese geek culture in general, and more. Of course, DualShockers is a gaming website, so the spotlight is on games, but our extended hobby tends to include the rest as well. Today's episode focuses on Gamescom. While it's held in Germany, it came with a ton of Japanese games on the show floor, and many Japanese developers were in attendance. Yet, I'm getting ahead of myself. As usual, we talk about games and anime I played and saw last week. But as you may very well imagine, I didn't have time for a single anime episode. As of games, I played a ton of them, like at Gamescom mostly. But I have finished to play Yakuza Kiwami 2, for which you can read the review already on the site. Of course, it was fantastic. It's literally the best Yakuza game out at the moment, according to me. It's also the one to which I given the highest score with a nice 9.5. And then I played a lot of, when I had some time, I played a lot of Dragon Quest XI. Luckily, I had played it quite a lot before, so the Gamescom didn't hinder too much my gameplay. And you'll read a review of that one quite soon. I can't tell you when. But besides that, I played quite a bit of Final Fantasy XIV because I've gotten back into that groove. And today there is the beginning of the Rising event, which commemorates the cataclysm, basically, that the fall of Dalamud, when Final Fantasy XIV, the original one, was closed and then moved into Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. But I haven't seen the event anyway. I wouldn't spoil it. I will play it later when I'm done recording. And that's it pretty much. Of course, there is going to be a lot of talk about the games I played at Gamescom right and now when I'm going to talk about Gamescom, which is the main topic of our podcast. So Gamescom, as I said, it's held in Germany, in Cologne, or Köln, as the Germans say. But it was very rich of Japanese developers. Actually, many Japanese developers prefer to show their games at Gamescom compared to E3, because Gamescom is a full consumer event, meaning that gamers that are not press are able to actually get in, can get a ticket normally. It doesn't cost $1 million to get in, unlike E3 that costs a ton and only the tickets are limited. So basically, you can simply go there and get your ticket, or book your ticket in advance. And in any case, it's open to hundreds of thousands of gamers, and showing the games there is certainly more effective in certain ways than it is at E3. Unfortunately, I was literally wrecked the whole show, because as you may know, most of our team is in the US. We have two new Europeans, which are Owen and Rachel, and they're both from Ireland, even from different part of Ireland. Unfortunately, they joined us very, very recently, so we didn't have time to actually bring them at Gamescom, because you need to request your pass and everything quite a bit in advance, which means that I was alone as usual, because DualShockers is not a big site, so we can't afford to send people in an intercontinental flights to Germany when you have someone already there, and we had E3 just before. So basically, I was one manning the show, which means I was absolutely destroyed. Because basically what happened during the show is that I left on Monday. Actually, I left home on Sunday. The airport isn't great, transportation wise. We have two airports close to where I am, and we got to the smaller one. And this one is not great transportation wise. So I basically, in order to take the flight at 6 a.m., I basically spent the night at the airport, so I was already not great when I got to Cologne. And then there was the NVIDIA event, which wasn't very Japanese oriented, but the RTX technology is promising. And then the day after, Monday, I started Hell on Earth. I mean, it's great to be able to play a game and talk to developers as much as I love it but it's very tiring when you're alone and you have to bounce from a booth to the other because you don't have any time to rest at all. You don't have any time to rest. You don't have any time to, say hello to people around. It's a very tiring experience. Which means that, as you may have noticed, some of the gameplay I posted in our YouTube channel isn't great. Because I was so tired and I was fighting to keep my eyes closed, especially the second and third day, especially since when I got to the hotel every evening, I had to write, so there is not much time to sleep as well. I did not post that one clip of one game, will not tell, which is not a Japanese game anyway, in which I actually fell asleep at the controls, and the developers nicely actually let me sleep until the end of the event. I actually would have preferred that they woke me up, but nice of them. They didn't even complain. Probably I'm not the only one that does that, but they haven't only once. I'm sorry to the developers. It wasn't Japanese games anyway. It wasn't a boring game, by the way. It was a very relaxing game, and the couch on which I was sitting was very comfortable. So yeah, it happens. Anyway, besides this preamble, so I apologize if my gameplay is not that great, but please remember, when you comment on YouTube, not just on our videos, or on anyone's videos, remember that people playing like games at an event normally play that game for the first time. They are not used to the controls. They're not used to the mechanics. They probably had scant time to see the tutorial, if there is a tutorial, because many times there isn't. So in many games I played, there was no tutorial at all. So please understand that when you see those videos and the gameplay seems a little bit bad, or even very bad, not just me, but everyone is pretty much in the same condition. We're all tired. We're all fighting to keep our eyes open. We're all keeping one eye on, when it's open, on on the screen in front of us, and one eye on the laptop to see that if the recording is going smoothly. So yeah, it's very difficult to actually play well while at an event, and you have no time to play first, get used to it, and then record, because normally you have like 15 minutes to record whatever you can record. So you go in and record immediately because you want some gameplay. So yeah, that's how it happens. So before you go and post some angry comments at people, especially even me, telling them that they're terrible players or all that, remember that we're not sitting on our couch at home. We would very much like to sit on our couch at home. Most of us are super tired, and many of us have many appointments. Bigger sites can afford sending big teams for so they have like many players that they can just do fewer appointments each. But a site like ours, when they send one person, you have to do everything. I had a total of 35 or 36 appointments through the 3 days. So that gets tiring, really tiring. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. So apologies for the quality. I hope you still enjoy the videos that you'll see, or that you have already seen on the site. Besides that, I got to play and to talk to many developers and to play with many of them. So I'm going to go in order. Well, in order, really. There isn't really an order. I'm simply going to go in order in which I remember them. So one of the most interesting encounter I had was Square Enix. Square Enix was kind of funny this time around because I had 3 interviews. I had an interview with Naoki Yoshida and Soken-san, the producer and composer of Final Fantasy XIV, and I was paired with another Italian journalist, which is a very good friend of mine, and neither of us knew we were paired together, and he is also a very passionate Final Fantasy XIV players. So basically, we double teamed them, and it was a lot of fun. That actually is a rarity for MMORPGs, because MMORPG, as you probably know, journalists don't play MMORPGs a lot because they take a lot of dedication, and normally we don't have all that much time to dedicate to one MMORPG. So it's actually very rare that you get paired with another journalist that plays that game or has played it at all. So when you actually are lucky and you get paired with someone that knows his stuff, it's awesome, because both people's questions are very pertinent, and we have fun because we know what it's talking about. So basically, there was me, this journalist, and then Yoshida-san, Soken-san, and Koji Fox, which works on the localization of Final Fantasy XIV, and we're laughing all the time because, when you know what people are talking about, it's fun. You can, throw around jokes and people understand the jokes. So yeah, that interview was very fun, and you will read it this week. But there was some interesting things. I'm going to tell you one thing from the interview that I haven't even written yet. Basically, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't remember, I asked Yoshida-san during, I think it was the second or third interview I had with him, what job would he like to implement in the Stormblood expansion. I think it was like a couple of years ago, when the expansion was just announced, or in the next expansion. I think it actually was just before, when we knew that an expansion would come, but not that the expansion wouldn't be called Stormblood or anything. And he told me Red Mage. That was I asked him his personal opinion, because of course, if you ask him what job is going to be added before it's announced, they will tell you, no, I can tell you. But I asked him what his personal preference was, and he told me Red Mage, and the Red Mage actually came in Stormblood. So this year I actually told him, well, since you told me this 2 years ago, and everyone was laughing, then what's your personal class you would like to add? And he told me arithmetician. He told me it would be fun to have something like that. Could that be actually into the next class? I don't think so. You probably told me, oh, you got it once, but you probably want the next time. I don't know. But this is a job that Naoki Yoshida would like personally to implement. I don't know if it ever come, but it would be fun to have an arithmetician. All in all, it was a really fun interview. Then I had another interview, and this was with the staff of The Quiet Man, and they told me quite a lot of interesting things. They are very indie-oriented team. Most of them actually work for Square Enix. The game is interesting, but I don't know if it will be a successful experiment. They are pointing to have it very cheap. I believe it's $15, and lasting about 3 hours, pretty much like a movie. So you will see if people will actually embrace it. But yeah, they told me quite a few things, and even here, the interview, you will read it. You will read it like later this week. And in this one, I was supposed to be paired with someone, and that someone didn't come. So I basically had the developer for a whole hour for me, which I kind of like. Then the second interview, the third interview with Square Enix was Left Alive, which also the person I was paired with did not show up. So I had the developers all to me for a whole hour. That was fantastic, because I was super looking forward to Left Alive, and there had been no information for an hour, for a year, pretty much, because they said once in a while the same few things, but they really didn't say much, and it was mostly hints. So basically, I was with the director Toshifumi Nabeshima, which you probably know for the Armored Core series. And the producer, Shinji Hashimoto, which you probably know because he is the producer of the Final Fantasy series. And I mean, talking for an hour with Hashimoto-san, which is an absolute legend, is quite the honor for me. And I was trying not to fanboy too much, and even for Nabeshima-san, because I am very much of an Armored Core fan as well. And I'm a big fan of the Front Mission series, and Left Alive is a new game with the Front Mission series. In fact, they told me that they decided to call it Left Alive and not from Front Mission just because they wanted it to feel they wanted the public to know that it's something different, even if it's in the same franchise, because it's not anymore a strategy RPG. It's a third-person shooter with survival elements and with mecha combat. So and it looks very good. I've seen some videos. I actually did not play it because it was not playable. But I've seen videos of the gameplay. Unfortunately, they just gave us screenshots of those videos. You can see 5 screenshots of the game on the site, and those screenshots come directly from that gameplay. So it was very, very interesting. I like what I see. Some things were a little rough still, but because that's the game is not finished yet. Like facial animation were a bit rough, but the rest would, like the mecha combat looked fantastic. Honestly, they say that you have choice to go into the mecha or just to proceed on foot. I'm gonna go into the mecha every 3 seconds, like the Wanzer, sorry. That's how you call them. I'm gonna be there every possible chance I get because that mecha combat looked fantastic. In any case, the project is still very well alive. They told me that the more information will come soon, and I have a lot of information to share through the week. But yeah, I expect they did not confirm this, so don't take it as confirmation that there's going to be more at Tokyo Game Show. And I will be there definitely, ready to report on all the things. I hope that we're gonna get a release date because there was no release date at this Gamescom. As you probably noticed, there was no release of any trailer or any specific news from Square Enix. All they did was inviting journalists behind the closed doors to talk to the developers, pretty much showing that the project is still there. But they did not reveal a trailer or anything. So that was a pretty interesting, strange thing, because normally at Gamescom, they reveal a trailer, they have big fanfare, but this time around it was just a behind closed door thing. But it was very, very interesting. And if you were interested in Left Alive, I encourage you to look forward to more information this week, in very Square Enix style, like look forward to it. But yeah, and also at Tokyo Game Show, it's possibly gonna come more of it. The one thing that I can say is about the character design of by Yoshi Shinkawa. It even just by looking, the first thing I saw was a female character, which I believe is the female character in the art, in the key art of the game, because there are 3 characters in the game, playables. The female character was from the behind, and immediately I could recognize the style of Shinkawa Sensei because it was like super recognizable. And the fact that the art is done by him was fantastic. By the way, I've been told also why and how they got in touch with Shinkawa-san, and that will be in more news posts that will come this week. So look forward to it. Then there was a lot more, of course. Square Enix wasn't the only one I visited. There was a ton of stuff. So let's go in order, pretty much. After that, I went to Capcom, and we had like an hour. Unfortunately, there was no interview here, but I got to play Devil May Cry 5. Sorry, and it was fantastic. That was a lot of fun. You can see the gameplay on the side. the game, there is an option to have an assist that will let you do good combos even when you're button mashing, which is of course I used because I had no idea how to play it like it right from the start. I had only 20 minutes to play, but it's very satisfying even in that one. I look forward next time I play it at Tokyo Game Show. Probably, I hope it's gonna be a Tokyo Game Show, but I'm guessing it's gonna be. If I get to play it there, I look forward to actually play without the assist. But it's very spectacular, and it's one of the best looking games I've seen in a long time. And then I played Resident Evil 2, and this time around I was playing Claire, and I was playing a section that was more combat oriented than the one that was shown at E3. Basically, you had to kill an enemy. I was following you around in circles, and it was so scary in a way that basically this guy, if you turn around, he wasn't there anymore, and you had to. It was like hulking and terrible, and you had only limited ammo, so you had to really be careful about shooting him. And if you turn around to run away, you turn back, and he wasn't there. And then if you stayed in a corner and say, okay, I'm in a corner between these two corridors, so whichever side this guy comes from, I'm gonna shoot him because I can see him coming. And then this guy comes from a bow. And oh my God, I kind of jumped in the seat, and, I died at the end. Then I played the second time, and I finally kill him, but unfortunately there was no more time to go on. It was a lot of fun. And it was very thrilling. Like, the chase is thrilling, I may tell you. It's really thrilling. Like, the game looks fantastic too. Like, the Resident Evil engine really, like, between Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2, that engine really has come into its own. Like, it's fantastic. I love what I've seen from it so far. Then I played quite a lot of Bandai Namco stuff. Ace Combat 7, I played, and it's fantastic. Like, you guys voted it as our Reader's Choice game of show, and boy, it deserves it. It's literally a mix of Ace Combat 4 and Ace Combat 5, and it feels so good. Unfortunately, I didn't have a flight stick to play it, but I just have a DualShock 4, but it was still fun. It was like solid. Just don't play with the default controls that, like, they're stupidly named, honestly, because the default control are actually beginner controls, and you can't even flip your plane. That's really sucks and totally destroys the sense of immersion. On the other end, the expert controls are the normal controls, and it's a lot of fun to play with them. And the sensation of traveling, of flying to the sky, it's just amazing. I just love it, and I can't wait to play that. And the story that I've seen in the trailers, you've seen it too. It's just, whoa, it's Ace Combat 5 all over again. And I know some people like Ace Combat 4 more, but I'm more a 5 guy. And for me, that's fantastic. I also interviewed Kono-san, the producer, and I will be posting the interview later. Then I played One Piece World Seeker, the open world One Piece gameplay. It wasn't very open world because the demo area was limited by invisible walls. You probably see in my gameplay, and there is a point in which I bang my face against the invisible wall, and there is an enemy beyond that invisible wall. I try to kill him, and I just bang against the invisible wall, and then I try to drag him into meat, and he bangs against the invisible wall. So yeah, but that invisible wall, I've been confirmed, it's just for the demo. It won't appear any invisible wall in the game, and the game was quite a bit of fun. There is one thing that I had a gripe with. There was no lock-on on enemy, which was pretty annoying to try to get them into my sights and to keep them into my sights when I wanted to hit them. In fact, sometimes I was just hitting Rufus super moves, and I just hit air. And it was a little bit annoying. So lock on, but I've been told that lock on could come. And that's, I think, it is indispensable. I played a little bit of Jump Force as well. It's nice. I am not sure just yet how much potential it has. It definitely is more of a casual fighter. It's not something that I think will do a big splash as in like competitive gameplay. I've been told that it's not intended to be something like Dragon Ball Fighters as competitive quality, and more something akin to Dragon Ball Xenoverse gameplay wise. In fact, I also interviewed the producers of both One Piece, World Seeker and Jump Force, and they told me something interesting. Unfortunately, I had them together for only 20 minutes, so I only have 10 minutes each. So it was a very quick interview, but I still got some quick and dirty facts that you will read very soon on DualShockers as well. Then what else did I have, Japanese-wise? Because I had a lot more of what I'm talking about, of course, but a lot of it is not Japanese, obviously. What did I have? So of course, I talked with so I played Soul Calibur 6 and it feels great, and I talked with the producer Okubo-san, which was super open and transparent with me, and that felt like a breath of fresh air. The guy is adorable, like literally is awesome. It's one of the developers I had the most pleasure to talk to. Like it really felt great to talk to him, because it felt like he held back nothing. Like I asked him, since he told me very clearly that Tekken 6, or we want to talk about Tekken. Well, he worked on Tekken 7 as well, but Soul Calibur 6, it took so long because he had to convince the higher ups at Bandai Namco to make it, because they didn't really have much trust in the franchise, because after, a couple of unsuccessful titles, it really was a bit in a crisis, and it was like risking to disappear at all. So I asked him like if this could be the last Soul Calibur if it doesn't do well, very well expecting that he would tell me they will try to dodge the question. It did not. He actually told me very clearly that it could be a possibility that this would be the last Soul Calibur if Soul Calibur 6 is not successful. And actually annoyed me quite a lot when I posted this news. Quite a few people say, "Oh, is blackmailing the gamers into buying the game." It is not. You would have a point if they told this by themselves. But I asked him, and he had two chances. The first chance was to respond honestly, like I believe he did, or to lie. Would you prefer him to lie? I don't think so. So I actually really like the transparency in this. He also told me a few more times. He told me that they could consider the Switch maybe after the PS4, Xbox One, and PC version has launched. He told me that there could be, if the game is successful, there could be some costumes at DLCs. He also told me that maybe one of the characters that are coming in the season pass could be another guest characters, but he did not say who. And he did not say for sure. He said that that's a possibility. And he told me a few other things interesting, but you will read those very soon. Then I played Dead or Alive 6 as well, and you can see quite a bit of gameplay. I also talked with Shimbori-san, the producer, which also was quite open and quite honest with me, especially on the issue of the fan service and all. One thing that's interesting is that first, the build Gamescom for the first time had actually some more fan service, in the fact that, the chest physics are back. Some think it's not enough, but they still look pretty good to me. Maybe if they added more options, I would be happy, and I'm probably gonna ask Shimbori-san if I meet him at Tokyo Game Show whether we can have some options in there. But also it seems that Helena's chest has been brought back to standard, let's say, since it had shrunk quite a bit in the build they've seen at E3. Maybe they've seen the reception of that first build and they're willing to, to mediate a bit. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna be. I don't know if people is gonna satisfy. Personally, I think they're making an effort to please the fans. We'll see if that effort will be enough. It was pleasing enough for me. Then, let's see. What else there was? Oh, yeah, of course. I played Sekiro, which was very fun. It took me a bit to get used to the controls because, contrary to what many believe, it plays nothing like a Souls game. Like nothing. It's very much more based on the swordplay. Like the exchange in attack and riposte with the swords is completely different and feels completely different from a Souls game, and that's the bread and butter of this game. And it takes a little bit to get used to. There is also the resurrection mechanic, and that works that if you die once, you can resurrect on the spot. If you die twice, you go back at the bonfire. Well, it's not a bonfire, it's a sculpture, statue, or something like that, but it's still a bonfire, basically. That's how it works. And that does play like a Souls game. Besides the fact that you can resurrect once and you can actually take the enemy by surprise. That was the interesting thing, is that the developers were actually quite surprised that I managed to kill the last mini boss that was there. It was an ogre. And I found it a little too easy. And he said, like, why? They were surprised. And I was like, well, you can just jump on top of him and on stealth and one shot them. And they were like, oh yeah, that's true. So that was slightly anticlimactic. Because yeah, you have this big ogre, and then they told me that, well, if you face by face, if you face this fair and square, it would have been very difficult. Well, I was like, yeah, sure, but why should I? It's a ninja game. I'm being stealthy here. And you can be stealthy. I think for me at least, the fun of the game is mostly going to be stealthily. And they told me that you can play most of the game stealthily, but of course you have to play most of the bosses. The bosses you have to actually fight them normally. The game is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was super fluid. Was running on PC, 4K, 60 FPS. So I did enjoy it. The only thing is, it took me a little bit to get used to the controls, but that once you get used to the controls, it's fun to play. I really enjoyed it. And I think it's going to be another hit for the Souls team. Definitely. Then what else did I play? Yeah, my brain is a little dead. Can you feel that? My brain is literally like kind of dead. Yeah, kind of just blur. So yeah, I played. I had a meeting with Sega, and I met with Sarah Wellock, which is their European PR manager, and she showed me quite a few 3 games. She showed me Persona. Persona Dancing. I believe I was playing Persona 5 Dancing on the PS4, and I sucked at it because, as you know, I suck at written games. So yeah, there is that. But yeah, there was. I made her laugh, so that's fine. Then I played. I played Fist of the North Star: Lost Paradise. And I did not suck at that one, but I was cheating because mostly, because I played half of it in Japanese already, and the game is fantastic. It feels great. And the demo that I was playing there included the, bad guy batting. You're basically batting some bad guys coming with a steel beam. You're batting them, and they're coming charging at you with the motorbike. And that's like Yakuza's batting center. It's addictive. You could just play it for hours. Then it was like some fighting and stuff, and that's pretty interesting. The funny thing of Fist of the North Star is that you've probably noticed, if you've seen some gameplay, you get a lot of little cutscenes in which the bad guys explode, because that's what Hokuto no Ken is. When I played the first time, I thought they would get old. But honestly, I put like 20 hours in the game, and they didn't yet get old, and they weren't feeling old when I played the English version at Gamescom. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the game. It's a lot of fun. It's a great Yakuza game with a Kenshiro skin, basically. Well, you can have the Kazuma Kiryu skin, so basically it would be a Yakuza game with the Fist of the North Star skin with the Yakuza skin. Skinception. So, and then I played Valkyria Chronicles 4, which I also already finished in Japanese. So, well, yeah, that was pretty easy. Funny thing, I was told by Miss Wellock that I was the only one that actually finished that level, which was kind of baffling. Probably people were very tired like I was, because that level is really easy. Or maybe people just don't care for strategy games. But yeah, that was my Sega appointment. Sorry. That was fun. It was a lot of fun to actually get to play the English versions of the games. And interestingly, remember how bad the localization for Valkyria Chronicles 1 and 2 were? The localization for 4 is actually very good. I was not expecting that. At least for what I've seen, the localization is good. Not perfect as usual, because, my idea for localization, I'm a little bit more demanding than usual. So my ideas are not exactly, the most forgiving, but in the end, I could enjoy the English voice acting, which is something rare. I will still probably play it in Japanese, at least for the voice acting, even if I already finished it in Japanese, but I would like to enjoy it with subtitles. But in the end, I was pleasantly surprised by the quality. That if someone is not as demanding as me for voice acting, they probably enjoy this English voice acting. Unfortunately, I could not test the one for Fist of the North Star, because it was the demo I was shown was mostly post-story stuff, and that does not have much voice acting at all. So yeah, let's see what else. Actually, I talked with Aaron Grimberg, which is, as you know, the marketing guru at Xbox. And you will see the interview probably tomorrow on your own, but there is already news out there for this, and he actually pledged Microsoft support for Japanese games again. He told that they do whatever they can to get Japanese games on stage, and they want to help Japanese developers succeed on stage. And I can definitely get behind this. I understand that many criticize Microsoft because they actually lacked a little bit of variety in their lineup, and certainly they did not encourage in the past their players to enjoy Japanese games. But they're doing what they can to change this. They're not money hatting anymore for exclusives because probably, it wouldn't worth it for them. But they are trying to at least getting the games on their platform so that people that are on Xbox can enjoy them, and so that the Japanese developers will continue to support the platform. And I think that's a noble thing. And I really enjoy the fact that people on Xbox the PS4 or Switch can enjoy Japanese games. So I'm really happy that they're continuing to persevere on this. I really hope that they will continue to do so because, I understand that probably Japanese games don't make a killing on Xbox, but the fact that they exist is a good thing. And I think they should continue to focus on them. And I really hope that, we're going to see more from Xbox. If I was them, I would just, create the studio in Japan or buy one. Maybe not a ginormous studio, but, that's just me. I'm sure they have their plans and maybe they will sooner or later. There was some rumors why they were creating a studio in Osaka, but I don't think those were anything more than rumors. And that were before the Xbox One generation anyway. It was the Xbox 360 generation. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'm very happy every time I talk with Aaron, and I really like talking with Aaron because he's very he's a gamer and you can feel it. He always tells me things tells me interesting thing, which I enjoy. So yeah, that's what he told me about Japanese games. He told me about a bunch of other things about things that are not Japanese games, but you will just read them in the interview and actually see it because I'm going to post a video of it. And that pretty much is it for Japanese games I played at Gamescom. I don't believe I forgot anything besides a few smaller ones, which we'll see about in the site. But that was the big part of it. Of course, the big Japanese event is coming fast, which is Tokyo Game Show. I will be in Tokyo starting on the 13th of September. Actually, I will depart from Italy on the 13th of September. I will be in Tokyo on the 14th morning, and then I will stay there until October 4th. I will have some interviews outside the Tokyo Game Show on top of Tokyo Game Show proper, and it will be a lot of fun. I have a lot of interesting things coming there, and even from developers that normally are not at Tokyo Game Show. So look forward to it. I know you guys are looking forward to a few Japanese games that we haven't heard much about yet, and I may be able to pull up some information out of the developers from those. You will see. I'm not going to spoil much, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Tokyo Game Show and to what's coming. Of course, Tokyo Game Show is around the 20th of September. I believe it starts on the 21st, something like that. And then it lasts 4 days. It's not a giant convention, but it's fine. It's fun. And, it's, as you know, it's my favorite, show of the year. Everything is ready for it. And, I will also go to Akihabara to do a ton of shopping, to do some reporting, because of course you want to see more of what's up in Akihabara. And you will, I promise. Just look forward to it because there is a ton. There is always a ton to report when I'm in Japan, and I will do it. So that's pretty much it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. What the hell am I saying? See, I'm tired. I know. I have to talk about the news of the week, which is there is more about news besides the fact that I actually saw stuff at Gamescom. What an idiot. I'm sorry. So let's get into that. Sorry. Yeah, I know. I suck. So let's get started with the news. I'm gonna just go through them fast because you guys already listened to me ramble for a long time today. and I'm pretty sure you're tired. So, well, we got a bunch of trailers. I'm not gonna mention all the trailers we got because we've got a ton of them. Just a few that are, like, interesting. We finally got the release date for Shenmue 3. It's gonna come in August 27th. But 2019, of course, because otherwise it would be today. Oh, wow. Yeah. You know what? I just noticed Shenmue 3 releases exactly 1 year from now. Wow. Okay. Well, let's hope it's great what we've seen lately looked pretty much a lot better than what we see originally. So I'm happy that they're making progress. August 27, 2019 is a bit far, but, it's a small team, with some part outsourced, so I'm not surprised. So got a new Demons Ex Machina series for Switch, trailer, and also some gameplay, and that was always also very interesting. It's interesting because the producer of the Armored Core series now works at Demon Ex Machina, and the director now works in Dead Alive. Actually asked the director if there is some kind of rivalry between them now, but he told me that they're very supportive of each other's work, so they want to see each other succeed. Then we saw new trailers for Tira announced for Soul Calibur 546. Oh my god. Today is a stupid cast. Soul Calibur 6. She will be a DLC character. I know people are a bit angry about that. Ultimately, the game comes from the two story modes, so it's not like it lacks content. Then, what else? Well, I've seen Cyberpunk. Yeah, that's not Japanese. But for some reason, I always feel the Cyberpunk setting has a little bit of Japanese contamination. But yeah, I'm not going to push that right here. But there has been the release of a dynamic theme for Shenmue 1 and 2. Speaking of Shenmue, it's by Tron Pixel, and it's fantastic. It's only on North American PlayStation Store, but it's really worth downloading it. It's great. Then what else? We got a bunch of trailers and screenshots and stuff for Persona Q2, which is still coming for 3DS. Sorry, that's how it is. Looks like it's not a waste, but the game looks interesting, especially if you like the Etrian Odyssey mechanics. So yeah, that's also a very good dungeon RPG. So it's really something I'm looking forward to. The big story for me, at least, I'm a big lover of the Langrisser series of strategy RPGs, and published by Kadokawa Game, that it's getting full remake of both Langrisser 1 and Langrisser 2, which is, wow. I was floored, and I really want to see what it is. There isn't the character design by Satoshi Urushiara anymore, so yeah. But it's actually getting the character designer from the artist of the Art Onelico series, and the good news, very good news, is that Noriyuki Wadare is coming back as the composer. And if you don't know him for his compositions in the Langrisser series, maybe you know him for his work on the Lunar series. And that's some fantastic music. And I really, really want to see how the game plays like. Then we got some more news from Square Enix. They announced that Million Arthur Arcana Blood, which is a fighting game that was only released on arcade, is coming to PS4 in Japan, so far, and it's coming in Japan on November 29th. Interestingly, they made a crossover with SNK, so Million Arthur is getting Yori Yagami, and SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy is getting Thief Arthur from Million Arthur. So that's an interesting crossover. So, and it's always nice to see Japanese companies doing crossovers together. For Soul Calibur 6, they also announced just yesterday evening as well, which seems to be like the big baddie of the game. He calls him the leader of humanity for some reason. And he actually can use pretty much the weapons of Gilgamesh from the Fate series. He can basically make weapons appear, which is interesting. We'll have to see how it pans out. But we have seen some of his gameplay. Seems pretty interesting and pretty hectic, so especially. So I'm looking forward to see how he behaves as a villain. And that's pretty much it for this week. Was other things, but were minor. Certainly it was an exciting week, but I wish I could have a day off. Finally, yesterday, I totally understood him. I was looking at this, the Soul Calibur's live stream, where they announced when they announced this new villain as well. And Motohiro Kubo, the producer, was there, and he was talking how is just was at Gamescom, and he had to go to this tournament in America, and now he has to go back to Japan at the office, at the studio to work to finish the game. He's like, I want the day off in English, because his English is very good, actually. And like, me too. This is a reminder that developers really work a lot. So when you're tempted to bash them because they do something in a game that you don't like, remember that this is people that work super hard for the hobby that we do. So we can be a little bit forgiving with them. Maybe even if understand if their games are bad, and criticism is okay, but remember the bashing is not, because it's people that really, really works hard for enjoyment in the end. So keep that in mind when you feel like that you have something really nasty to say about a developer. And that's very important. And I've heard quite a few things this week, both towards Okubo-san because of Tira, and towards Shimbori-san as well, towards because of the fan service situation in Dead or Alive. Remember that many of these decisions are made much above the pay grade of a producer. They're made at a corporate level, and so bashing the producer personally or the developer, whoever it is personally, is really not a good thing. It doesn't make you look good, and it does not help them see your way. Quite a difference actually is that if you go overboard, you will immediately be identified as the vocal minority. So your feedback will not be perceived, will not be received in a way that will be constructive. On the other hand, if you keep your head level, if you keep cool and explain your reasons carefully, and kindly, with a little bit of humanity, they will most probably be much more open to receive it. And remember that in the end, both Okubo-san and Shimbori-san, they do check social media, so they do see your feedback. Just keep it civil. That's very important. And I think we should, as gamers, be kind to the people that are the games that we enjoy. Whether sometimes we will make choices that we don't share or that we don't approve of, but in the end, there are people like we are, and the people that work very hard. So keep that in mind when you're tempted to say something nasty. Okay? Now that I've finished with my little preaching, I'm done with this week. So thank you for listening. Thank you for following as usual. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a thumbs up on YouTube. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a thumbs up. Down, it's fine. I wasn't trying to be subliminal here. I said up because I'm tired. I meant thumbs down. And again, thank you, and see you next time. Bye.